Imagine waking up to headlines that Apple and McDonald's, two of the most iconic American brands, are losing their grip on one of the world's most important markets, China. Once seen as untouchable giants in the global economy, these brands are now facing real challenges in a country that was once key to their international growth. What used to be a land of opportunity has turned into a highly competitive arena shaped by local innovation, changing consumer habits, and new market dynamics. But this isn't just a story about falling market share, it signals something much bigger, a shift in the balance of global business power. China is no longer simply a massive market for foreign brands, it's setting the pace for global trends in technology, trade, and consumer behavior. And as China redefines what it means to succeed in the 21st century economy, it's also rewriting the rules for everyone else. Over the past decade, China has rapidly evolved from a country reliant on imports and foreign know-how to a force in innovation and self-sufficiency. Chinese companies once seen as imitators of Western brands have now emerged as serious contenders. Brands like Huawei, Xiaomi, and Luckin Coffee have risen to dominate local markets, and in many cases outperform their American counterparts. Today, many Chinese consumers prefer local brands, seeing them as more in tune with their needs, more affordable, and even more innovative. According to Bloomberg, these brands have surged in popularity, leading the way in areas like AI, 5G, and even lifestyle. Huawei, for instance, has become a global leader in 5G tech, seen by many as more advanced and better tailored to Chinese users than anything Apple currently offers. Dr. Jean-Paul Len, an expert on Asian markets, explains that the new Chinese corporate landscape is no longer about catching up, it's about leading. These companies are no longer followers, they are pioneers setting global standards. So where does this leave American giants like Apple and McDonald's? Are they simply going through a rough patch, or is this the beginning of a long-term shift? All signs point to a lasting change. A 2023 survey by Global Times found that over 70% of Chinese consumers now prefer local brands to foreign ones. That's a stunning reversal from a decade ago, when American products were the gold standard of quality and aspiration. This consumer shift is backed by a major strategic pivot within China itself. Under its dual circulation strategy, China is focusing more on domestic consumption and self-reliance, pushing local brands to the forefront of the economy. Wang Yi, a senior economist at the China Center for International Economic Exchanges, emphasizes that this isn't just a policy goal, it's a national strategy with real consequences for global companies operating in China. One major reason behind the shift: price. Apple, once a symbol of luxury, is now seen by many as overpriced. In contrast, brands like Xiaomi, Oppo, and Huawei offer equally strong, if not better, products at more accessible prices. A report by McKinsey found that 62% of Chinese consumers now prioritize value for money over big-name brands. And it's not just about being cheaper. Many of these local products now match or surpass their Western rivals in quality. A Statista survey also found that 55% of Chinese consumers under 35 trust local brands as much or more than foreign ones, reflecting growing confidence in domestic innovation. M. Jiang, a retail analyst at China Renaissance Capital, notes that this shift in perception is a game changer. Chinese consumers are no longer reaching for foreign brands by default. They're making empowered choices based on trust, relevance, and quality. But there's something even deeper driving this trend: national pride. Brands like Huawei and Xiaomi have become symbols of China's strength and independence, especially in the face of foreign sanctions. When the US hit Huawei with restrictions, Chinese consumers rallied behind the brand not just as a product, but as a statement. According to the South China Morning Post, Huawei's market share jumped 30% in China after the sanctions, an unmistakable sign of public solidarity. The message is clear: the landscape has changed. China isn't just a market anymore, it's a powerhouse shaping the future of global business. And for American companies, the challenge now is to adapt or risk being left behind. Shaw Chin, a consumer behavior expert at Tsinghua University, says that for many Chinese consumers, buying Huawei products isn't just about quality or price, It's about national pride. Supporting homegrown tech like Huawei has become a way for people to show their support for China's rise as a global technology leader. This link between national pride and local brands has created a strong sense of loyalty. Companies like Huawei and Xiaomi have successfully tapped into a wave of nationalism, which has only grown stronger amid ongoing tensions between China and the United States. Nationalism is now a major influence on how Chinese consumers shop. A recent South China Morning Post survey found that nearly 80% of young Chinese shoppers prefer local brands, viewing their purchases as a way to support China's economy and values. This isn't just a short-term trend, it's a meaningful shift. For many, choosing Chinese brands is a way to express their identity and push back against foreign influence. Buying Huawei, for example, is often seen as standing with China against U.S. sanctions. Dr. Li Wei, a sociologist at Peking University, explains that this change in consumer habits isn't just about what's affordable or reliable. It's about aligning with brands that reflect their values and national pride. But what does this dramatic shift in consumer sentiment really mean for China's broader economic future? As the cost of living skyrockets, particularly in powerhouse cities like Beijing and Shanghai, a quiet storm is brewing. It's no longer just about nationalism, it's about survival. According to China Daily, since 2022 the average cost of goods and housing has surged nearly 15%. For millions of Chinese consumers, this isn't just inflation, it's a squeeze that's forcing a new kind of reckoning. Foreign brands, once symbols of prestige and aspiration, are being reclassified, not as everyday essentials, but as luxuries. The golden arches of McDonald's, the green siren of Starbucks, once the emblems of a trendy, cosmopolitan China, now find themselves on the defensive. Why pay more? Many ask, when homegrown alternatives deliver equal quality at a fraction of the cost. Take Luckin Coffee, a disruptor turned market force. While Starbucks navigates pricing pressures, Luckin's aggressive strategy has paid off. According to The Economist, Luckin captured a 30% surge in market share in just 1 year. Their weapon, affordability. Their audience, a cost-conscious middle class bracing for more economic headwinds. Economist Jing Vong of Shanghai University underscores the shift. Chinese consumers are pragmatic, he says. When prices rise, practicality wins. The result, a tidal wave of support for local brands and a new frontier of challenges for global giants. But the battlefield is bigger than consumer choice. Foreign companies are facing regulatory pressure unlike anything they've seen before. In a bold restructuring of its market rules, China has implemented sweeping regulations that tie the hands of outside players. From data localization laws to cybersecurity mandates, companies like Apple and Tesla are being forced to rewire their entire operational infrastructure, often at staggering costs. Apple, for instance, had to rebuild its data management systems from the ground up to comply with China's evolving rules. According to Bloomberg, the price tag ran into the millions. But the cost isn't just financial. Asher Singh, a policy analyst at China Economic Review, puts it. These aren't just red tape, they are structural shifts. This is China reshaping the rules of engagement. And while foreign firms navigate regulatory landmines, local competitors, free from many of the same constraints, are surging ahead. The message is clear: adapt or fall behind. Then comes the next front, sustainability. For China's younger consumers, environmental integrity isn't a bonus, it's a baseline. A Greenpeace China study reveals that 72% of consumers under 30 actively seek out eco-conscious brands. It's a generational demand foreign companies can no longer afford to ignore. Starbucks, recognizing the stakes, has pledged to power all its Chinese operations with renewable energy by 2030. That move is as much about branding as it is about survival. As Liang, a sustainability expert at Beijing Normal University, explains, younger Chinese consumers want values, not just products. If a brand isn't green, it's gone. But it's not enough to be green. To truly connect, brands must strike a cultural chord, understanding traditions, respecting values, telling stories that resonate. These are now imperatives. Companies like Apple have leaned into emotionally rich campaigns around Chinese New Year, tapping into heritage and heartstrings alike. It's not just marketing, it's cultural diplomacy. Marketing expert Alex Jen notes, success in China isn't about selling, it's about belonging. Miss the cultural mark, and you lose the crowd. Even fast food isn't immune. McDonald's, once a novelty, has embedded itself deeply by transforming its menu. Nearly 60% of its Chinese offerings are now customized for regional preferences, from rice dishes to bold spices. It's a culinary pivot designed for relevance. Add in AI-powered kiosks and facial recognition payment systems, and McDonald's is battling for more than customers. It's fighting for relevance in a tech-driven age. Because in China, technology isn't just innovation, it's expectation. According to the China Internet Network Information Center, a staggering 99% of Internet users are mobile-first. The Chinese market is no longer a bonus territory, it's a battleground, a proving ground, and perhaps a crystal ball for the future of global capitalism itself. So the question remains, can foreign brands evolve fast enough, or will they be left behind by the very market they once hoped to conquer? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, China's influence is no longer rising. It's here. And it's reshaping.